Welcome to MPE TV. We're here this morning with Elad Cohen, VP of Data Science and Research at Riskified. So tell us a little bit about Riskified and where you play in the payments industry.
So Riskified is an AI solution that is trying to power e-commerce. What we do is see ourselves as an enabler that are trying to make e-commerce as accessible and safe to the merchants across the world. One of the things that we see today in the industry is that a lot of the merchants are using rule-based systems, and any case where they see that there might be slightly more risk, or these are new geographies where they don't have enough understanding in that geography, they may be rejecting and declining a lot of very good transactions. So what Riskified does is leverage AI and the data that we have and the network in order to approve a lot more transactions and increase the top line for these merchants.
Regulation is shaping the landscape of the payments industry at the moment. How do you think AI is working with the regulators?
So when we're looking towards PSD2, a lot of the regulation is trying to shift the liability and use SCA in order to make sure that fraud is being curtailed. On the other hand, what we have noticed historically is that SCA and 3DS specifically has a very, very high drop-off rate. So from the merchant's perspective, they might get a solution that's going to be reducing their fraud, but they're going to be implementing a lot of friction to do that. In some of the historic cases that we've seen, merchants who were able to find their risky orders and historically were sending them to 3DS had only a 30% approval rate because of the drop-offs. When we had those orders go through Riskified and they were no longer being sent 3DS, and instead we were taking on that liability and deciding what to order, we could get those approval rates up to 50%. So while the intent of the regulators is very good, I think the implementation is going to be problematic from a merchant's perspective.
What are some of the benefits that you see for the merchant ecosystem in implementing AI systems?
So we need to remember that AI is a very, very broad domain, and it can help in very different solutions across all the different functional groups. So obviously if we're looking at fraud and abuse, that's one use case, but product recommendations or getting your inventory and shipping costs down. As the competition is going to get more stiff and profit margins are going to go down, merchants have to start leveraging AI in order to find ways to both increase their top line and reduce their costs. A lot of the solutions that exist today are still based on manual work, and we've worked with merchants in the past who, in the fraud space, have had to ramp up their risk analysts to hundreds of people every time they have a holiday season. And they understand that this is not a good solution, it's not the right way to do business, it's also very, very expensive, and it also limits their growth. When you're transitioning to AI, it's really the only way that you're going to be able to get very granular, highly personalized decisions that are still run at a large scale.
Thank you, Elad. Thank you for joining MPE TV.